Evening folks, my name's Steve Cook. I'm a regular on the board. You'll know me as Steve Cook 17 2001. I've been asked if I can add some audio to a recent post I made about my desktop. So I thought I'd stick my ugly woman as well and say hello. Don't worry, you won't have to look at me this big for much longer. I'll minimize myself down. So, right, there we go. I'll just bung that down there. Right, so I'm going to split this up into three parts. There'll be three videos, I think. One is a general tour of the system. The second one will be showing how you can use Ubuntu Mate well, I've used it in conjunction with Ubuntu Studio for working with MIDI keyboards. The third one is using it with LTSP. Now, I'll preamble this by saying that this is actually Ubuntu Studio 14.04.2 32-bit LTS with Ubuntu Mate 1.8 overlaid on the top. Now, the reason I've done it that way is because primarily, well, firstly, Ubuntu Studio, that part of it, there's the 32-bit part, there's the Ubuntu Studio part. The Ubuntu Studio part is just for one thing. It's my MIDI keyboards. Basically, when I use a MIDI keyboard with it, I need low audio latency. That means when you put the signal into the keyboard, the physical keyboard, it has to get into the system via USB, through to a synthesizer, and then from the synthesizer out to the system speakers. And if there's a big delay in that process of going through those various bits, it means you get an out of syncness between, you'll get a delay between pressing the signal and hearing the sound. And if that delay is big, it can be a bit of a pain because you sort of lose track of where you're playing. The second thing is that Ubuntu Mate, and I shouldn't single out Ubuntu Mate, this is all of the Ubuntu variants apart from Ubuntu Studio, are a bit flaky with something called QTL Jack. And what QJack CTL, and what QJack CTL is, it's a virtual jack device that basically allows you to use a virtual jack lead to connect up various applications and virtual synthesizers in the system. And also, most importantly, it allows you to take your physical keyboard that's in the real world out here and virtually connect it via a virtual jack lead into the virtual synth and other devices. So it's kind of essential. And it's a bit flaky on, not just Ubuntu even, all of Linux. The only variant of Linux I've found where QJack CTL works pretty much all the time is Ubuntu Studio. So that's why I've used it. Now, why the 32-bit? That's nothing to do with the Ubuntu Studio. The 32-bit is twofold. One, my printer is a Canon LBP 2900i, which just will not run in 64-bit Linux. And believe me, I've tried. So that's the reason why. The second reason is, and this is actually the more profound reason, and that's because I use something called PNP LTSP, which is where I can make... I have thin clients around my house where I send the image from the server to those clients and it loads it up. Now, those clients, their physical architecture might be 64-bit, it might be 32-bit. If it's 64-bit, it can load a 32-bit image or a 64-bit image from the server. However, if the physical architecture on the client is 32-bit, it can only load a 32-bit client image. So therefore, it makes obvious sense. PNP LTSP creates its client image from itself. So if I had a 64-bit OS on here, the client image would be 64-bit, which meant any client I had around my house that was not 64-bit couldn't run it. So it just makes sense for it to be 32-bit so that I never get a problem with clients. That's the reason why. Okay, why do I have Ubuntu Mate over the top? Well, because Ubuntu Studio comes with XFCE, the Ubuntu desktop, which I really don't like, and that's as simple as that. Ubuntu Mate is the desktop of choice for me. It's just superior in every way to any Linux desktop. Period. End of. I don't need to justify that anymore. You already know that. Right. So that's that. Next thing, I'll give you a quick tour of the menu. Now, this menu is a mishmash at the moment of Ubuntu Studio and Ubuntu Mate. So there's quite a lot of redundancy where it's repeated the same applications twice. I've got to go and tidy this up. I just haven't got round to it yet. So audio production. We've got just squillions of stuff here which come with Ubuntu Studio. Okay. QTL Jack, QSynth synthesizer, and something else which I use a lot of, which is VMPK. Now in one of my other videos I'm going to show you all these in more detail, so I'm not going to go over them now. Loads and loads of video production stuff, Blender, publishing, accessories, just on and on and on. This is just ridiculous. This is where all the redundancy occurs. Too much stuff to mention. If you look at the silent video that I did earlier, I've gone over these menus more slowly. So if you want to have a look, if you see anything on here that you want to install, that I've installed additionally, I'll tell you how to do it. I'll tell you how I did it. Right, what we've got on here, these are bookmarks. I like my bookmarks. I like to keep my long-term web locations in a window. It's very old-fashioned Windows XP, I suppose, Windows 3.11ish, really. So I keep everything here. So I've got all of my TV channels, so I can just go straight to them, you see. So it's just nice. There we go. Oh, is it going to misbehave? Oh, don't. There we go. Okay, so that's where they all are. What I've also got is I've got all of my network locations here showing in the places menu right from the off. They load right at boot up. Now, the reason they load right at boot up is because I've written a script which I've explained about that. I did a tutorial on it elsewhere on the community if you look for it. And basically what it does is it loads everything right at the start. Now I've got a little shortcut here. I'm going to load these now. It'll just overwrite them because I've already logged in, but it'll show you how it works. When I log in, when I first boot up, this is what happens. It loads up all of the SMB, all of the Samba locations. Then as soon as they're all loaded, it shuts them all down. There you go. And then they're all up here. Now why have I got that? Just so that I don't have to do this. Because I'm lazy and I don't want to. It just irritates me. I just like to be able to come in and see them all there. Okay, that's that. System, you all know what's in there. Right, okay, this is the other bit that's new. I've got a reset resolution because this screen jumps about a bit. That's because it's a TV, really. Doesn't do it very often, but occasionally I have to reset the resolution. Reset Marco, reset mate panels. I have the reset mate panels because occasionally these will jump about, these icons up here, that resets them all in place. I've got a reset sound because sometimes when I use QTL jack I need to reset ALSA afterwards. Again, not very often. That's reset the printer if I've got a jam in the printer queue. That's view the print queue, so you just go view the print queue there if you want to delete an individual job. That's an LTSP virtual client, which I'm going to do as a separate video. That's Dropbox. Now I've got Dropbox installed. Have you noticed how Dropbox isn't here? Sometimes it disappears. It's a quirk with Dropbox. It's nothing to do with Linux. I've just got a little fix for that, which is just restart Dropbox. And what you'll find is it will appear. There it is. It's still working. It's just the icon sometimes disappears. And it's just handy for doing that. Oh, of course, though, you could just go to home folder and your Dropbox folders, you could get to it that way. It doesn't really matter. I've got QBitTorrent, which is my BitTorrent client. I've got my email there. I'm not going to open it. That's my Thunderbird email. That's something called Firetray, Thunderbird Firetray, which basically mimics the old mail notifications icon that you used to get in GNOME, and I like that. So I've installed that as an add-on into Thunderbird, and basically, you can, if I clicked on it, it would open up Thunderbird here on the screen. I've got Skype, that works nicely. I've got Caffeine. Now Caffeine works beautifully if you use the right version, and it's that version. I've just done an instructional today for somebody which shows where to get that version from. So if you have a look around for my recent post, you'll find it. And that works exactly as it used to, which is you put your stuff in there and it stops them working. Now just to prove it, if I open up the web, look what happens up there. You'll see that the Steam goes white, and then if I close it, it goes grey. There we are. So that works really well. Obviously Bluetooth, I use something called powerline adapters instead of my wireless, because my wireless card's a bit flaky. Powerline adapter, I have one that goes into my router, into the mains, and one that goes from my computer into the mains, so it's great. It means it's really fast. With Ubuntu Studio, you get that old-fashioned thing where you get all these appearing, which I like, which used to get on the norm, and it's great because whenever I install anything, it just any media player, it just puts them all in there. Okay, that's basically it for that, for the introduction to this system. I'm going to do another video on how to use a MIDI keyboard for anyone who's interested in music production, and I'm going to do one on LTSP next. But that's it for now. Thank you. Cheers. I need to. How do I stop it? Stop.